August 1st, 1981. A generation planted itself in front of the television and watched something that had never existed before. Music, on TV, on purpose. It was called MTV. And for about 15 glorious years, it was the coolest thing on the planet. Then one day you turned it on and there were teenagers screaming at each other on a beach in Florida. So what happened? Grab your surge and let's get into it. In the beginning, MTV was genuinely revolutionary. The very first video they played was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, which in hindsight is either deeply poetic or the most on-the-nose thing that has ever happened in television history. VJs like Martha Quinn and Mark Goodman became celebrities just for talking about music. Artists who got heavy MTV rotation saw their careers explode overnight. Michael Jackson, Madonna, Duran Duran, Cyndi Lauper. If MTV liked you, America liked you. It was that simple. The channel ran music videos 24 hours a day because that was literally the entire point of its existence. Here is where it gets interesting. By the late 80s, MTV started noticing something. When they ran non-music programming like game shows and contests, the ratings went up. Not a little, a lot. See, music videos are passive entertainment. You watch one, maybe you watch the next, but your attention drifts. But shows keep people locked in. And locked in viewers meant better ad rates. Better ad rates meant more money. And television executives, it turns out, really like money. In 1987, MTV launched a little show called Remote Control, a game show about television trivia. It was a hit. The crack in the dam had appeared. Then in 1992, MTV aired The Real World, a show where strangers lived in a house and argued with each other and occasionally did something dramatic. Sound familiar? It should, because The Real World basically invented reality television as we know it, and it was cheap to make. Astronomically cheap compared to licensing music videos. Here is something nobody talks about. MTV had to pay licensing fees for every single video they aired. Music videos were not free content. They were expensive to license and they generated relatively modest ad revenue compared to a show people would schedule their week around. Once the math became obvious, the direction of the channel was basically sealed. Through the 90s, the shift happened gradually enough that most people did not notice until it was too late. Total Request Live in 1998 was actually a last gasp effort to bring music back to the center of the channel. And for a few years it worked. Carson Daly, screaming crowds outside the Times Square studio. It felt like 1984 again for a minute. But then the internet happened. And here is the brutal irony of the whole story. By the time YouTube launched in 2005, music videos were suddenly free and available to everyone on demand. The very thing MTV was built on was now everywhere for free. MTV had spent 15 years slowly moving away from music videos, and the internet finished the job in about 3 years. There was simply no going back. So MTV did not stop playing music because someone evil took over and decided to ruin everything, even though that is a very satisfying explanation. It stopped because ratings data, licensing costs, and the economics of television all pointed in the same direction at the same time. And nobody in a corner office was going to fight that. The music videos still exist. They are all on YouTube now, which is honestly fine. But there is something that streaming never quite replicated. That feeling of sitting in front of the TV at 3 p.m. hoping they would play your favorite video before your mom called you to dinner. That was something else entirely. And if you are a Gen X rewind, you know exactly what we mean. Subscribe for more stories like this one, and go check out our Gen X Rewind store for the gear that brings it all back.